Alright, folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joy, and today I'm just at the point where I don't understand what's going on with other ADOS when it comes to not only ADOS, but I'll say broadly black people in America, especially when it comes to sucking on the teat of the Obamas and painting them as some type of spokespeople for black people or some type of holy leaders in the black community. So LeBron James, Chris Paul, and some of the other top NBA players reportedly spoke with former President Barack Obama on August 26th after the players met about continuing the NBA season or striking. So, of course, according to Insider.com, the NBA postseason came to a screeching halt on Wednesday after the Milwaukee Bucks refused to take the court for their scheduled game against Orlando Magic. Minutes after the Bucks' intentions were clear that they weren't going to play, the 5 other teams scheduled to play in the playoffs that day joined the movement and started the strike. So Milwaukee Bucks said they weren't going to play. Of course, Milwaukee is the home of, like, Wisconsin is where Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back. Minnesota, which isn't far from Wisconsin, where George Floyd was killed with a knee on his neck. If I'm not mistaken, there are multiple NBA players too who allege that they've been assaulted or unfairly treated by either the cops in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Milwaukee, where they play, or a business. I mean, these stories aren't new. So of course I expect if any team's gonna boycott, strike, which they all should, it's gonna be Milwaukee. So I'll continue with Insider.com. On Wednesday night, it briefly felt as though the entire season might be in jeopardy. During a tense meeting amongst players regarding what steps to take next after the strike, LeBron James and the Lakers and Clippers walked out early after voting to end the season. So for once, LeBron actually steps up and take action, which I've heard all kinds of things about how this meeting went down, and people weren't happy with LeBron because they felt like he was talking down to players and wasn't considering, like, hey, we ain't all LeBron James. We ain't all half a billionaires. But anyhow, I digress. So later that night, James's call with Obama took place. And after another meeting on Thursday morning, it was announced that the NBA season was back on. Now, when I first heard that they were striking, I was like, okay, they're like, why did it take this long? Y'all realize that painting Black Lives Matter on the court and putting these quotes on your back wasn't really getting your point across? All right, let me continue. One point of contention in the meeting was how the players could issue actionable goals that brought about real world change. On Friday, some progress was made. Friday meaning, what would that be? The 28th. Some progress was made towards that goal. In a statement, the NBA announced that in cities where franchises own their arenas, the league would work with local officials to turn stadiums into voting locations for the November 3rd general election. A cause that James's More Than a Vote group was already rallying support for. So that's what Insider.com had. Now, of course, I don't have any issue with stadiums being voting locations. I think that we've seen that the party in control right now, the Republican Party, isn't willing to relent on, they're just being obstinate about not voting by mail for reasons of that is purely voter suppression. There's no way about it. I live in Washington State and I've only ever voted by mail. And my vote has always counted. So I'm trying to understand what the issue is. So NBA arenas have turned their voting locations for November 3rd, turned their arenas into voting locations. So all good. But it doesn't really do any good when your only choices are the lesser of two evils. Trump or Biden. Who, neither of which have a specific plan for ADOS people. I mean, not to even begin to believe that they have a plan for reparations. So let me continue with the news here. Yahoo Sports reporter, Obama reportedly told the players the strike was an important opportunity that they could use to contextualize action that they wanted to see taken in the country. Quote, as an avid basketball fan, President Obama speaks regularly with players and league officials, Obama's office said in a statement via the New York Times. When asked, he was happy to provide advice on Wednesday night to a small group of NBA players seeking to leverage their immense platforms for good after their brave and inspiring strike in the wake of Jacob Blake's shooting. They discussed establishing a social justice committee to ensure that the players and league's actions this week led to a meaningful engagement on criminal justice and police reform. So after speaking with Obama, these players, instead of continuing their strike, came out with a supposedly actionable agenda item, which is to form a social justice committee. Now, this is the thing. We all know that it's been well documented that the FBI, with the Black Panthers and various other civil rights and Black pride movements, has used these very same tactics to stifle the movement. How do you prevent change from actually happening? Form a committee. These are the rules of the game. Form a committee. Put a whole bunch of people on it so that you never come to a real decision. Say that you have to have a majority vote for anything to pass. Make it so that a certain time period has to pass before any purposeful or actionable legislation policies can be enacted. For instance, we only vote on this, that, and the other once a year. Those are the rules. Those are the bylaws of our committee. So that's what has to happen. Understand that forming committees has always been a way to stifle immediate and decisive change. That's why the NAACP exists, and everybody turns to them. Again, as another supposed spokespeople for the Black Lives Matter movement. I just saw something on Twitter today that said Beyonce's giving another $1 million to the Black community to help support small businesses, and I applaud that. But the other part that didn't sit right with me, that this money would be distributed in conjunction with the NAACP. Again, they're acting as a buffer. Why does the NAACP need to say in how money is distributed to the Black community and small businesses? Why do legislators have to meet with the Congressional Black Caucus, who hasn't for a long time represented the interests of ADOS people? Or why do these NBA players need to talk to LeBron James before anything meaningful can happen? When did we anoint holy leaders as representatives for everything ADOS? Beyond that, why is it that every time there's some momentum towards actual progress, Obama decides to pop his head up and stop what's happening? Now, Obama's barely said anything about all these police shooting deaths of unarmed Black men. In fact, Black Lives Matter came about under Obama's administration. Said time and time again, Trayvon, these people were under Mike Brown, were under the Obama administration. Over the last few weeks, there have been multiple reports that the majority of the Democratic candidates left in the race after the South Carolina primaries all got a call from Obama asking them to concede the primaries and endorse Joe Biden. That is Jim Crow Joe Biden. That is my son who is crack addicted, shouldn't face the same penalties for the same crime as Black men Joe Biden. That is Joe Strom Thurmond and me are besties Biden. The NBA players had the opportunity to walk away from the plantation. The literal plantation. It's not even figurative. We expend all the labor we can for you, and you never gain any ownership. We bleed you and work you until you're injured, or we've reaped all the value out of you, and then you're broke in a couple years. So they have the opportunity to walk away for good and say, we're not playing. But they let Obama persuade them to come back. They let Obama persuade them that massa ain't so bad. That we'll just come back, keep working, and maybe he'll do right by us. When the NBA players have the chance to walk away for good and start their own league, I mean, damn, upwards of 80 to 90% of the NBA is black. If black players truly believe Black Lives Matter, walk away and don't look back. There is no league. There is no NBA without ADOS players like LeBron and Chris Paul and Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard and a Michael Jordan and a Magic Johnson and a Kobe Bryant, a late Kobe Bryant. And so why do they keep going back? It's crazy that when LeBron is worth $500 million, that he's even still playing for the NBA and not starting his own league. Why settle for buying a team when you can have your own league? And I think this honestly shows a level of ignorance or naivete on their part. Especially when Obama has specifically said that America doesn't work by creating legislation, protections, or set-asides just for African Americans. This man has said this country wasn't built for you. Of course, Obama's not the same as us. His parents are a white mother from Kansas and a Kenyan father. He's a legacy kid. We always talk about legacies and who benefits and who doesn't. This man has said that the world doesn't work that way. America doesn't work that way. America doesn't work for black people. America doesn't work for African Americans. So how can NBA players expect Obama to give a damn about black lives when he has never shown that he does? Don't they remember when Obama told a class of Morehouse graduates to stop complaining in his black accent? Stop complaining. Y'all know how he gets when he's talking down to us. Don't they know that Obama's vice president, Joe Biden, was the mastermind that put more black men in jail than all women across the world? And if you don't think this was manufactured decades ago, then you don't know enough. That the degradation of the black family wasn't intentional, I say go to school. Don't the NBA players know that Obama didn't pull himself up by his own bootstraps, but he had $500,000 handed to him by his white grandparents to give him a head start? He had a head start. And he'll probably be the first billionaire ex-president. Who knows if Trump is actually a billionaire? I guess a president who becomes a billionaire, I should say that. We can say that for sure. And so you got to ask yourself, NBA players, ADOS America, Black America, why is it that Obama only ever speaks up when it's to our detriment? I.e., endorsing Joe Biden and tried Michelle out to do the same. Joe Biden ain't gonna do nothing for black people. Kamala ain't gonna do nothing for black people. She said it plain and clear. Let's be clear about this. Look, they ain't gonna do nothing for black people. ADOS people especially. Just like those Morehouse graduates, Obama told those NBA players to shut up and stop complaining. So why are they listening to him is the real question. And that's what I got, folks. Like and subscribe and leave your comment below. What's up with Obama? I think the answer is clear, that this man don't give a damn about black people, especially ADOS people, and he never will. And that's what I got, folks. Talk to you next time. Bye.